Well, hey, welcome to the podcast. Glad you're listening and hanging out with us. I'm here with Jeff Michael, who just put in a bunch of food plots down his farm.
Yeah, a bunch of food plots on my dad's farm. We have a lot of land that is, it's tillable, but it's not accessible by a modern harvesting equipment. Combine just can't get there, so we have huge food plots. We planted 12 acres.
I saw you like 12 foot up in a jankety tree stand.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, yeah, but it's in the midst of what will be a bean field and a corn field and a thick fence row. And I just know from history that it is a travel corridor come rut, and so they're going to be running up and down that fence row, and they'll be enjoying the corn that'll be there long after everybody else's corn is gone. So 12 acres is a lot of food plot.
Yeah, it is. That's cool. Well, today on the podcast, we're joined by a friend of ours, Adam Cartright, who killed a 240-plus inch buck in 2017. And so his story, man, it's incredible. He shared some stuff that I'd never heard before.
Well, the crazy part about the story to me is he just focuses in on this one deer and gets, I think the word I used was obsessed almost with getting this deer, which I get a deer of that nature. But he missed.
You're ruining the podcast for people.
Oh, well. No, I'm just telling you, you need to listen to him talk about.
Oh, it's awesome.
He missed. And how often would you get another chance?
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
Well, we are gearing up for our Sportsman's Banquet here on August 15th. Tickets are selling, so make sure you grab a ticket. There's a bunch of information on our social about a chance to win a Green Mountain Grill. And so make sure you check that out.
Daniel Boone Prime Wi-Fi. It's about a $750 pellet smoker.
Yeah.
Great place to cook your back straps.
There you go. Well, hey, without further ado, let's get to the podcast with Adam Cartwright. Well, hey, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for taking some time to hang out with us. I'm joined with Jeff Michael and our buddy Adam Cartwright. So Adam killed a giant buck back in 2017. So
giant is an understatement.
it's literally an understatement. But Adam, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do for a living.
Adam Cartright. I'm Deputy Sheriff from Clay County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for approximately 6 years. Worked in the jail for a little bit and made it to the road. Been there for a while now.
Awesome. So back in 2017, you already alluded to it, but you killed an absolute giant buck. And so today I thought what we would do is we would just kind of recap that story about that pursuit. And so tell us how you found out about this buck, first of all.
He was well known in the whole... There was a few trail camera pictures back in 2015. A few people had them. They got leaked out. Everyone pretty much, by 2 years later.
It's hard to keep it quiet.
It is, man.
2015, he's probably 160 class inch deer. Double drop tines, one on each side.
How old do you think he was then?
I think then he was 4.5.
4.5. Okay,
yeah.
That's a good 4.5-year-old.
Yeah. So did you get pictures of him at a 4.5-year-old, or as a 4.5-year-old?
I didn't. I have one of the pictures that was leaked.
Yeah. Small town.
Yeah. It was one that when you first see it, you're like, oh, I'll never have a chance at killing a deer like that, or I'll never, I don't know anyone around that area where I could try to get in there and hunt.
Yeah.
The following year, it goes by. He's, no one's killed him. Right before November, he appears on another camera, and I get a picture sent to me. And
so you're using cell cams?
No, this is from a friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Somebody else can't keep it quiet.
Yeah. Someone else got a picture, roughly mile and a half, somewhere in there where he was seen last on the trail camera. That everyone knew about anyways. And of course you get the don't tell anyone, this and that. And
yeah, nobody listens to that.
Yeah.
Everybody says it. Nobody does it.
Yeah.
And it goes by again, and it's still the same feeling. I'll never get to hunt that deer.
Guess how big he was then?
I would say he's probably pushing 200 then.
Ooh, he took a big jump.
Yeah, it'd be his right side just blew up and palmated, and I don't know if it was because of some hole. He had some holes in the back of his neck. Taxidermist was caping him out. He said there was 22 bullet in the back of his neck.
Ooh.
So
Holy cow.
I'm sure a stray shot from a squirrel hunter or
Oh,
something.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but
So I wonder if did that shot, you think, impact the growth on that side?
I've always heard that if a deer's hit on the left side, their right side will grow funky, or if they're hurt on, hit by a car on the right side. Very well could have been. I'm not sure. And then 2017 rolled around, and I had a lifelong friend. He's a farmer. He was cutting wheat to a field just adjacent where I harvest him. And right before dark, they shut down the combines, was getting ready to eat supper, and deer started coming out of his fence rows, and he climbed up on the combine and took a picture, and there he was standing there in the field.
So for people that don't know, you're talking mid to late July?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
2017?
Yep.
Because in 2016, this is the first time I heard about this buck through a friend of mine who Colton Bailey, who joined us on this podcast from time to time. And he showed me a picture, and of course, the famous word "don't tell anyone" came out. But I know he started pursuing this buck too, and he started calling him Dale.
Yeah.
And so, is that his real name?
Dale? What did Mama call him?
I don't know.
That's what matters. What did your Mama call him?
I don't know.
When I got my first pictures of him in September, I believe, I think that was when I pulled my first card. I had named him Superstar.
I heard that. I've heard that name too. So
yeah, I had named him Superstar and it just kept getting pictures and pictures, and then I'm in these group Snapchats with all my hunting buddies, and through the year his name just gradually went to Dale, and I don't know if that was from some people talking to Colton and that's what they called him, or if it just.
Where did the idea of naming?
I don't know.
Have you done that before?
Not really. Because normally I'm
don't
not
see a
after
200-inch deer very often.
No.
I guess.
Yeah,
So,
and I've never went after one specific deer either. It's always been, it's a good 3.5-year-old. Here's a good 4-year-old, and stuff like that, through cameras and stuff. But
Yeah.
it was one year that, I got some good deer pictures that year on the camera on that property, and it was ones that you just have to let pass. You can't. My opinion is the more scent you put in there, the less likely you have a chance of seeing him.
Yeah.
And
So you get a picture from your buddy who's a farmer in the summer of 17, and he's just standing in the field.
yeah.
And you get one in September. Same deer.
He came to my house, showed me the picture of that deer in the field, was telling me, where he was and this and that. And he was in velvet, so I was like, I set out, and one of my other friends, they have the property next to it where he came from. So I talked to him into finally, letting me in there. I had to show him the picture of why I wanted in there
Obviously
so bad.
a non-hunting friend.
No, he hunts.
Oh, he hunts and he lets you in there?
What a friend.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I showed him why I wanted in there.
Yeah.
And,
That's why I wouldn't have let you in there.
Saying he lets you?
yeah. We went in there, and I had a golf cart. We took it around all the beans and, through the crops, and just to look over the property. And we happened to find a place, and I just knew that was the tree. and it took me 2.5 hours to hang on in this crooked tree.
Wow.
Ended up making a trip back to the truck, getting a screw gun and a 2x4 to screw to the tree so I could make sure to get the stand level.
Wow.
Why was that the tree?
Yeah.
Because you're not like getting pictures or anything at this point.
It was a 15-acre set-aside field, CRP. And
So did you find a bed that made you think?
from my experience with the CRP, they're going to push does to the open field or CRP fields,
Okay.
tree programs, or I figured he would come check it, and the prevailing wind for us is northwest wind.
Yep.
So it'd been the southeast corner of the field, and I figured he would come on the south edge of the field, just wind checking that whole field. And it was just one of those feelings I had that it was the only tree big enough to get something in, and that's where we spent 2.5 hours trying to get the stand up.
So you spent time hanging it in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. As soon as I got the velvet pictures, I decided that I needed to get a stand in there. But the whole goal when we set out to put cameras in there was just to get velvet pictures of them. That was the whole. I didn't even care to. I cared to kill them, but
Yeah, absolutely.
it was more of a dream than a reality.
So looking at the picture from the combine, what were you guessing? Velvet, it makes it hard, but what were you guessing?
He was so far away. All you could basically see was the frame, and he had points going everywhere. You couldn't really tell, what it was, but you could tell he was big. And there's big deer all over, but it told me that it was that deer that everyone knew about.
Yeah, there's big deer all over, but there are not 240-inch deer. What, 240?
241.
241-inch deer are not everywhere.
No.
So did you keep it pretty quiet, or what'd you do?
I did. I don't know. He's not the farmer that took the velvet picture. He's not much of a hunter. He does a little bit of hunting, mainly shotgun, but I don't know how much he kept it quiet.
Yeah.
So, but we got it. We got in there, put those pictures, or got those cameras up, and 2 weeks later I pulled them, and I'll never forget. We were sitting at my kitchen counter, clicking through the pictures on the computer, and he popped up.
Oh.
And
Man, that's awesome.
yeah, I actually jumped out of the chair just because that was our whole goal, was to get the pictures of him.
Yeah.
And then the next goal became, I just want to see him in person. That's all I want, is just see him in person. And
So did you stay out of there then, like after that point, or what'd you do?
yeah, I checked cameras then, and then it was about a month. I waited to check him again.
So like mid-September.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
It's been so long since I've actually looked back at the pictures, but
That's key though. When you've got a prime area, that's a small area.
Mm-hmm.
But they say these big ones. How you think he's staying right there on 15 acres or so?
I think he was. The farm was roughly 140 acres, mainly draws, fence rows. Had that one CRP patch, but there was a couple ponds, and there's a neighboring pond.
So he had everything he needs, but a small area. It'd be easy to drive him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the golf cart was key too. I read all these things about you can ride four-wheelers, just don't shut them off and let them run when you're checking trail cameras. And that golf cart didn't make a sound besides the leaves and the grass, pushing the grass over. But anyways, we checked them and stayed out of there. And then I actually left. I had to work out of state for a little bit, some training, and first week of October, I think I had 6 or 9 trail camera pictures of him using the area in velvet. And,
In velvet in October?
no, just right before.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I hadn't checked them. I was going to check them when I got in there for 1st of October.
Gotcha.
And I was up there. I was up North Chicago, and wanted to be home. And I think I got home the 12th, and we had a front come through on the 11th. Checked the camera. Came home, checked the camera right before I got in the tree, and he was there on the 11th, 30 minutes before dark, 20 yards from my stand.
Oh man.
So, it kind of.
And you were out of town?
I was out of town. Yeah. Yep. Otherwise, I would have been in that stand with the front moving through.
Absolutely.
So did he pattern pretty consistently for you when you get to looking at those pictures then?
No. He just.
That's what
He just came and went, and it was about maybe every 2 weeks I'd get a picture of him.
Wow.
It's like a ghost.
Until the rut came, and then he disappeared for almost the whole month.
Oh man.
Probably 2.5 weeks actually.
That's backwards. Do you think he just left the property? Or?
Yeah.
So was anybody else seeing him when you were going?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was a time he was very, very daylight visible.
Ooh.
So.
I mean, I've always heard that the older they get, the more visible they become.
Yeah, and he was, he would cross the main highway like it
During
was
the
nothing.
day?
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
I'd get phone calls, hey, I just seen this deer, and I'm like, I haven't even seen him yet. And this is a whole month of October, and
crossing a highway.
Yeah.
So were you waiting to get a phone call as the, kind of, that he's dead on the side of the road?
I actually got teased every time. We do get a lot of deer accidents through that stretch.
Yeah.
I'd always get teased, going to a deer accident or hope it's not him, and I would be working and have to go to it. And but luckily he never did.
Check on the people real quick and then go, now what kind of deer was it you had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But.
So you're getting pictures. He disappears. People are seeing him. You've got to be sick to your stomach.
Yeah. I think my last picture of him before I had an encounter with him, I think it was, I believe, mid-November or mid-October. And then I went, like I said, about 2 weeks. And it was November 6th. I climbed up in that stand early one morning, had a good frost. Sitting there and, like everyone nowadays, playing on your phone. And just happened to put it up and looked out across that CRP field. And I saw antlers walking across it. And I stood up and grabbed my binoculars and looked at him, and it took about 2 seconds, and I realized it was him.
Oh, man.
It was his right side. His whole, I just seen that big palmation. And
is he going back to bed?
No, he was actually following another, I guess, about 160-inch 12-pointer across the field.
So let me just recap here. You got 400 inches of antler cruising through a CRP field.
That's
pretty close.
true.
My knees would be shaking, man.
Yeah. Well, I was nervous. Basically, I finally met my other goal. Saw him in person. But it was
closer.
All,
You're getting closer.
Yeah. It was all happening way too quick. He's walking across the field. He's following this other deer. I'm looking out through there trying to find a doe, see if they're trying to push a doe. And I don't see anything. And I watch him for probably 5 minutes through binoculars, and then just watching him through the, naked eye. And
was he working away from you?
He's working, yeah, kind of diagonal away.
Okay.
And they disappear in this taller stuff. Like I said, it's an overgrown CRP. And I sit there and I wait. And I was like, well, I don't know if they snuck out the corner or what. And I grabbed my grunt call and I just hit it one time real soft. And that 160-inch 12-pointer, he stood up as tall as he could, I think, without getting on his hind quarters. And he was about 30, 40 yards from me in that tall stuff, and he pegged me in that tree. I stood
Really?
there. Yeah, I stood there as still as I could be. Of course, like you said, I was shaking.
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't know he was coming towards you anyway.
They were walking right towards me.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Dead
that
straight.
could have been it.
Yeah.
And you got to pass a 12-pointer before you get to him.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they go across the field. And
what was the reaction, like body language, style? Like, did they tails down and go away, or what happened?
He kind of just looked up, and he started doing, the high step away from me.
Yep.
Of course, Dale, he was following that 12-pointer. He's following him like a puppy dog. That's the way I refer to it. As everywhere he went, he would follow.
So who was the dominant buck? I know which one's bigger, but why?
I think he was following him. Just you see you hear people talk about all these big bucks at early rut will follow the big ones, or the big ones will follow the small ones, and then when a doe gets close to be breeding, then they'll run them off.
Run them off, yeah.
That's interesting.
But I think I don't know if they were bachelor together. I never had any pictures of each other together. But anyways, they walk across the field back to about where I see him the first time. And they start rubbing on some little saplings out there. So I pick up my rattling antlers, and I hide them behind the little bitty tree, and I just tickle them together. And that 12-pointer, he just looks up on full alert and looks at me. And then he walks over to another tree and starts tearing it up. So I tickle him again when his head's down into the tree. And then he hears me, stops, and then he starts walking towards me, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
This is going to work.
This is like the first time rattling antlers ever worked for me.
Right.
And
so is Dale still following him at this point?
he is.
Okay.
Actually, when he hits that second tree, Dale, when he leaves that second tree, Dale goes over to that tree, and he starts taking it from ground to ground, just side to side. Just, I guess he's showing his dominance against that other one that I don't know. But so the 12-pointer comes halfway across the field. He's looking. I'm kind of on a little bit down on the incline, and he's looking down in there. And I don't do anything besides I put their antlers up and grab my bow, and I'm standing there holding it. And I remember thinking, I better calm down or I'm not going to get anything done. And
so is all this on film?
I wish it was.
Okay.
No, this is a hunt of a lifetime.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But he comes in, and I'm standing there, locked on, and I look up, and here comes Dale. He's just following him, same trail, same everything.
And he hasn't picked you off yet?
He hasn't. No, I'm standing there, and this deer comes to 10 to 15 yards right underneath me. And I'm actually holding my bow and looking through my bow down at him.
At Dale or the 12-pointer?
The 12-pointer.
I can picture all this. It's like I'm there.
Yeah. And as I'm holding the bow, standing there, and I'm like, man, that's a good deer. But
yeah, no kidding.
And then I'm looking out there, and I'm like,
that's a deer of a lifetime.
Drop tines, splits and palmation. And he's standing. Somehow I managed. I think I ranged the 12-pointer where he stopped before he walked to me, and it was at 60 yards. So, and that's where Dale stopped too.
What's your comfortable shooting range?
On a 241-inch deer.
Well, there's no comfort anywhere. Okay, good.
Yeah. I've killed him out to 68.5 with my bow.
Wow. Okay. So he's in range for you.
Yeah. I don't think I would have taken that him. Oh, I killed that buck at on the edge of a field, and he was out in the field with the doe, and he had no worries that I was there.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all he worried about was the doe. But
so Dale's hung up at 60.
He's standing about 60 roughly, and the other deer's 10 to 15 right underneath me. And that deer, he pegged me again in the tree. And he starts doing the high step, trying to get downwind of me. This whole time I've been lucky, and the wind was out of the northwest, hitting me right in the face. And he starts going around me. Well, there's a big brush pile right beside me. So he had to go all the way around that brush pile, which probably put him about 20, 25 yards. And then when he gets into the thicket, Dale starts walking right towards him. And I had one hole, and it was about 40, I think it was 45. I ranged a little tree through the hole, and I drew back. He started walking. He was going to hit that hole. I drew back, and he hit that hole, and I stopped him. And he looked right up at me in the tree, and I let loose. And I don't know if I target panicked or if it was all the nerves or what it was, but I hit a little bitty limb in that hole, and I watched my lighted knock, and it hit him right. I'll never forget it. I see it every day when I think about it. That arrow was going, and it looked like it was going to hit him right between the eyes. And
So did you hit him?
I hit him. I hit him up in the best I could figure was up in the base of his antler.
See, this is the same morning. This is November 6th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a tree stand. What time did this happen?
Roughly around 8.
Okay, so I'm in a tree stand, and I get a text from Colton that says Dale's dead, and that was probably 9:30. And
Little did you know, Dale just had a headache.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the impression was that this giant had been killed.
Yeah.
That was kind of going around. Obviously, you probably knew that he wasn't, but did you take an effort to look for him that day, or?
I did. I actually found my arrow. I got down, found my arrow right where he was standing. My knock was gone.
Yeah.
My broadhead was destroyed. It actually broke one of the expandables off the stainless steel ring. And so, I got back up there and sit there and stared at the arrow and just knew I'll never see this deer again.
Yeah, you just know that's it, right?
Yep.
One shot connection.
To get a shot at that kind of deer once, let alone twice, is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I actually got down I got back up there, and the more I sit there, just the more I got mad at myself.
Sure.
So I got down, walked back, put all my stuff up in the truck, and went home, talked to a few people. It was just
Did you
down.
think? Did you think that there's any way he was dead?
No.
Okay.
No, he took off running out of there like a elk trying to get out of there.
I bet.
He looked like an elk running out of there too.
He did. At that point in time, he was very heavy in the body.
Was he?
I bet when I killed him, he was probably, I'd say 40 pounds lighter, if not more.
Wow.
How much did he weigh when you got him?
I didn't ever weigh him, but you could tell by just looking at him, he was ran down.
Run down. So November 6th,
So,
hit him in the head.
Mm-hmm.
So did you? I don't want to get ahead of the story. I'll stop.
I want to.
I want to so bad. So keep going, because then I got a great question. And you probably have the same one.
I think it was a couple of weeks goes by, and I'd hunted that stand a couple more times.
Did you get any more pictures of him?
I had one picture of him after that, and he turned nocturnal. It was at nighttime.
Uh-huh.
It was a very rough picture, but I could tell just by looking at him, some palmation on his right side, that I knew it was him.
Okay.
And it was night, and it was a distance picture. So some time goes by. I'd say a couple weeks.
So he's made it through gun season.
He made it through first shotgun season.
You had to be getting nervous.
Which in Illinois, gun season, it's if you're an archery guy, gun season is like a nightmare because there's a hunter in every tree.
It is.
Oh, it's insane.
And it's just the first season is a 3-day weekend of lead slinging.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable to be in the woods if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. if you don't have your own woods,
Right.
It is.
I still go because I hunt on
You
my
get yeah.
own personal property, but yeah, you just know that's it, right?
Yeah. I actually got to hunt that farm in gun season, and I went in opening day, and I got up there super early.
You just thought today would be the day, didn't you?
Didn't really want to harvest him with a gun, but after all what I've been through, I was good with it.
Yeah.
See, I've been waiting to ask this question through your story here. At what point did Dale switch from being a deer you wanted to get to an obsession you couldn't let go of?
Maybe we should ask your wife.
Yeah, she was over it because I mean he's the only deer that's ever made me that aggravated. I would say after I missed him, it became more of a I'm gonna do anything I can to try to do it, and like I said, the first time I missed him, my goal was to see him in person. That's all it was.
So you'd already met your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it became, obviously, your last goal is I'm going to harvest that deer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a couple weeks, I started hunting the whole other side of the farm, the whole north side. And I set up there, a few times, and it moved all my cameras up there besides the one I got him on last in the evening. And it was a big funnel, and I put 3 cameras in that funnel, within, I'd say, probably 400 yards. And I hunted it here and there and saw some good deer, saw a lot of deer. And I went one evening, I can't remember what day it was, but got up there. I hunted out my climber a lot because I didn't hang any stands, fresh farm, didn't really know what to do with it, and hunted out of the climber and climbed up there one evening, sat there. I think I saw 2 or 3 deer. Got down after dark and went to walk out, put my backpack on, reached in my pocket, turned my flashlight on, and there was nothing. Flashlight was completely dead. So I could hear the highway, so I just started walking towards it, and I started down an incline right before I get to the highway and look down, and there's a shed antler. And I picked it up, and there's a drop tine from 2015. 2 years. It laid there for 2 years.
In the dark.
In the dark. I just happened to walk across it, and there it was.
So did you know immediately it was from 2015?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember the picture.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Why would it still be there? That's amazing.
And
Was it in the timber?
Yeah.
And then you found
And no squirrel touched it.
The drop tine is actually chewed up a little bit. There's not much. I mean, it's still the whole length, but it's little bitty on about the last 3 inches of it.
That's crazy.
Some of the G2's chewed up, some of the brow tine, but it's still, a full-size shed.
Wow. In the dark.
In the dark. Once I picked that up, I just knew I'm in his core area. So I was like, if he's here shedding his antlers, he's going to be here late season. Mm-hmm. So I just stuck with it, and kept watching the cameras. And I think it was the 28th, I stopped and checked all 3 cameras, which I could access through the creek. And he was on there like 5 days in a row.
In the daylight?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It was mornings. He was coming back. What I figured was he was coming. He was leaving bed on the south side of the farm, which I couldn't figure out where he was, and he was just making a full circle, and he was coming back through that funnel to go back to bed for the day, and so the 28th that
Which
night,
would be the day before shotgun season, right? Roughly.
2 days.
2 days before.
Yeah.
Okay.
I harvested them the day before.
That's right. That's right.
Season. So I sit there, and I was getting ready to go to work at 4 o'clock, and the same farmer that took the velvet picture harvesting wheat called me and said, "Hey, I just jumped that deer on the south side of the farm with 3 does." And I'd been hunting the north side for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got my mind just going crazy where I should be going. I got one more day before second shotgun season comes in, and we're sitting there at work and sitting in the office and
Being real productive.
yeah. And I was talking to one of the guys that I hunt with, and he's like, he just don't want to die unless he's on camera. I chuckled about it, and this whole year I've been, changing at the truck and, not going in with a bunch of smelly clothes on to check cameras, and just being a scent freak. And I kind of laughed about it at first, and then I was like, you know what? It's late enough. Let's go try it. And
First time in with the camera.
First time in the camera, first time ever with someone with me. And
See, there's a lot of guys who won't do that. And what I mean is, I hunt with a lot of guys, and I know Jeff does too, who have hunted for a really long time, and they get really weird about going with anybody else.
yeah, I was nervous.
I bet.
More or less because I was to the point of, if I don't harvest them, I want those antlers. For shed season, I don't want to push them out. And go bed somewhere else and lose the antlers. So that was kind of another goal I set. If I couldn't harvest them, I would find those antlers, hopefully. And so I think I worked till 12:30 that night, and I got off, went home, got a couple hours sleep, and the guy I talked to wanted to go. He actually worked all night long, so he had no sleep. Met me at my house, and we jumped in the truck, and it was, about a 5-10 minute drive, and got in the tree early, set up, and I was in a real crooked tree, so he had to get into the tree next to me, and didn't see a deer all morning. And actually, I looked back a couple times, and he was catching a snoozer. I was mad, first time in there, you can't even see. I've been seeing does and little bucks, and I thought, it'd be nice to have something on camera.
Yeah.
And then it was like 8:20. I remember standing up at 8 o'clock and, telling him, I'm about ready to go. This is kind of getting dumb. Not seeing a deer at all. And he's like, I'm ready whenever you are. And it wasn't. I had my phone out, and I was looking at it, and just put it away and turned to my left, and he was standing about 60 yards from me, down in the bottom of the funnel. And I seen that side, and I just stood up and drew. I was like, he's already got away from me once. I'm not gonna let him get away again.
So how long were you at full draw? Because your shot was how far?
20 yards.
So how long were you at full draw?
I would say roughly 30 seconds. It wasn't.
Okay.
He stopped.
So he was coming.
Yeah, he was at a log.
Okay.
And he stopped at that log and was looking, and he looked like he was going to go to the left, which would have been up a hill. And we were in kind of just a little funnel travel corridor, and he jumped over the log and came right to us. And it was about 20 yards. I tried stopping him, and he just kept on walking. I just buried the pin behind his shoulder and let it fly, and he took off like an elk again right out of there. But wow. I knew when I did hit him or shot at him that time, I knew I hit him. I saw it hit and saw that the actual skin expand from the broadhead. But
wow, how far did he go?
He only went about 100 yards.
Did you watch him fall?
No.
That's a gut-wrenching feeling, isn't it?
It was. I knew I had made a good shot on him. It was a touch high, if anything, and in my video you can hear me saying that. And but he ran over a little hill, and instead of crashing and making a bunch of noise and everything, he just tucked all of his legs underneath him and just laid down.
Wow.
And laid there. But we were, the first person I called was my dad, and told him, I finally killed him. And, called my wife, and then the next person I called was my boss because I had to be back at work at 4 o'clock that day.
I'm not going to be there.
Oh, yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
That's crazy. How long did you wait before you went to go find him?
Well, I wanted to wait a little bit longer, but the guy with me on the camera, he wanted to get down and go see him. So by the time I got down on phone calls and everything, he was standing at the bottom of my tree.
And you're rewatching the video, right? So you know.
I think that's the cool benefit of having a cameraman is you get to watch the footage.
Yeah.
And hey, I made a good shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's obviously he's filming, and it meant something to him too for being there, but it was still hitting me that I had just killed. Thought I had killed.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah, once in a lifetime. So I turned white. I already fall out of the stand a couple times. And anyways, we get down finally, and I'd say probably 30 minutes at the most he had laid there.
And so how many people have seen the footage? I know it's not public. I know it's hard to tell, but.
Yeah, I really don't know. I know quite a few people have seen it. But it's not
out there.
No, it's not on social media yet or anything. Trying to work on some stuff with that now, though. But
yeah.
So we find my arrow, and we're looking. You hit double lung deer. You normally blood everywhere, and we rewind the video and watch where he runs. Okay, it's this tree. Walk over there, and we find a little bee speck, and we go up. Can't find any, and it's dry leaves in the timber, and I'm sitting there, and of course you see all these videos with Ron Slifler.
Yeah, Slifer. Yeah. He was on the podcast a few weeks ago.
Ron.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, Ray, let's back out. I don't want to lose this deer. I don't want to jump him. Let's give him more time. If we have to, I'll call Ron. And he's like, I think we can do it. We can just watch tree and this and that. He said he'll open up sometime eventually. And he jumped over a brush pile. And I walked around the brush pile and found one other drop of blood. And I told Ray, I said, hey, there's blood right here. And he walked up there. Of course, my nose is the ground looking for blood. And next thing I know, he about shoves me to the ground. And I look at him and I'm like, what? And he goes, he's right there. We were 15, 20 yards from him, and he was laid up in some tall trees and just some brush. And from there, it's just...
celebration.
Yeah, it's speechless.
Man, that's crazy.
So talk about what you found on the antlers when you... This is the unique twist to this buck, man.
Yeah. I walked up there, and I actually didn't even notice it until something kept grabbing a hold of my leg and, trying to get around him because he was in some thick stuff. And I looked down, and there was barbed wire hanging from his antlers. I would say, I haven't had it off of him. It's still on him mounted, but I would say probably roughly 8 foot of barbed wire, if not more. Never saw it. As soon as I saw his antlers coming through the woods, I never looked back at his antlers because I knew it was him.
Smart. That's smart.
Yeah. But he came in with it on the video, comes in, it's dragging the ground. So.
Holy cow.
So there's the name change.
Barbed wire buck. That's what he's known for, at least around here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbed wire buck.
He's got a few names.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's awesome.
Before, I talked to a few buddies, and before I knew it, there was probably 15 trucks parked on the side of the highway.
Oh, I bet.
Waiting to go help me get them. So
I think that's the cool part about just hunting in general is the community of people. and the fact that we gather together for what we love.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's amazing to me, I've never come across a deer like that, but I've never had an opportunity to make one deer my focus and pursuit. How did that change you as a hunter?
Drove me crazy.
I bet.
It was tough. You know, I've got some good deer on the wall, but nothing like that. And it was just one of those that I set out, and from everything I've read and learned, and my opinion on things is, if you're going to kill something like that, you've got to keep your scent to a minimum. And you know, I didn't even harvest a doe off that property in 2017 because I was too afraid getting too much scent going across there blood trailing, and you know, I just never knew when he was going to pop in and run him out.
How many times do you think you hunted that property then?
I really don't know.
Because you've described several times in and out of there.
Yeah, it was several. I hunted it smart. I hunted with the wind. I hunted, traveled the same way in and out, and dressed at the truck, undressed at the truck, and just became a scent freak. And I may be overdoing a lot of it, but
evidently not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
can't argue with the results.
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. Well, you killed that buck in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2018, you came to our Sportsman's Banquet.
Yep.
And you won an elk hunt.
Yeah,
I did.
There's a lot of people said a lot of bad things about you after that.
Yeah, I'm bad.
The guy kills a giant buck.
Yeah.
And then, how many people did we have at the banquet?
350, 400, somewhere in there.
So a 1 in 400 chance, and you're the man. That we were giving away an elk hunt to go to between Jackson Hole and Yellowstone in Wyoming with our friends Martin Outfitters, and I get a chance to hunt with Dan and chase the elk. I got to go there. What year would that be? 2017. So you win, and now you're. I guess you got to wait and build up points, and it's a process to go out west. But you're going to go chase something. It's not going to be much bigger than the barbed wire buck.
Yeah. Don't shoot anything less than 240.
Yeah, my elk was 328, but your 241 whitetail. Oh man.
Yeah. That's what I talked to Dan the other day, I believe, and he said, "Well, I don't know what kind of caliber you're looking for of elk," and I said, "Well, if I drive that far out there, I'd really like to kill one bigger than my whitetail." And that's all I said. I said, and also, I'm sure I'll get out there and see how big they really are in person, and I'll probably be. It doesn't matter to me, but
I sent Dan a text that night. He did not respond because he's busy around hunters that time of year. And I said that you had won, and that you had also killed a 240-inch buck the year before.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, when I talked to him, he just was like, "That's not even fair."
Yeah, I'll never forget. Ron turned around, and he looked right at me it felt like he looked right at me, and I had just met him that night. But I talked to him on the phone a couple times, and I don't know.
Ron's an awesome guy.
He is.
Yeah, he's tracked for us a couple of times, my oldest son, and he just loves it.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He definitely knows his stuff, especially his dogs.
Right. So I would highly suggest to you, your instinct to wait and to hold out and maybe even call Ron. You cannot go wrong. Ron's mantra about that is dead deer don't move.
Yep.
Right. And so you can, he tracked one for us this past fall. 52 hours from the shot to the find. Coyotes beat us to it and all that, but we had the satisfaction at least of knowing we put forth our best effort. And,
well, now you know the end of the story.
We know the end of the story.
Yeah.
And so there's value in that. Martin Outfitters, though, and you're going to have an awesome opportunity to go out and do the elk hunt. So we'll have you back
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this 400 plus inch elk, you're going to get. That's how you do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I tell you, when the one that I got stepped in front of me, of course I had a guide with me, and he's saying, it's a shooter, it's a shooter. I'm thinking, no kidding, it's a shooter. It's like anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
70 yards looking at me,
That's awesome.
screaming at me. It's kind of like hunting a giant turkey.
A 600-pound turkey.
Yeah, more than 6.
Yeah.
This giant turkey screaming at you. That's a blast. But
Yeah.
I don't think anything will ever surpass for you. I mean, I hope you have great experiences in the future, but that pursuing one that's such a giant, and
Yep.
then finding success at the end of the story. Of course, success could be defined in a lot of different ways, but accomplishing your goals. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well, where can people find you now?
I have my own personal social media. Also, Ray that videoed me and a couple other cops in the county. We started Second Nature Outdoors. We have Facebook and Instagram, as well as secondnaturetv.com. We have a website. Try to put everything on there, and what our future, hunts and everything.
Are you going to do more videoing in the future?
Yeah, we've actually, we've got roughly 10 people on the team.
How many turkeys you guys kill this fall?
Spring.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, this spring.
We killed 24 or 25 different turkeys in 3 different states.
That's unbelievable.
So-
All
That's
on
awesome.
film?
Not all of them were. Obviously, that's our problem is we give up our time on hunting to try
Yeah.
helping them, to film each other. But when you're going out of state, it's hard to find someone to go with you, or even around here, it's hard. I work midnights now, so it's hard to get someone to get up when I go and other people, So, but we're
Second
working
Nature Outdoors. And what was the website again?
on secondnaturetv.com.
Okay.
Awesome.
Check
Thanks
out
for
Adam's stuff.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for
sure.
having me.
Yeah.
So.